the extremists who have seized the government of Iran speak lies to the United Nations General Assembly. Outside, you speak truth to their lies. You speak of freedom while they think they can conceal their tyranny. You stand for economic opportunity for every person in Iran while they think they can distract the people from the corruption and mismanagement of their regime. You stand for an Iran that will be peace-loving and non-nuclear while they support terrorist killers and expand their violent aggression throughout the region from Syria and Lebanon to Iraq and Yemen. Iranian Americans who embrace American values, while they are America's enemies. And that's why I'm so proud to stand with you outside, and why I am so optimistic today that one day before long, you and I will be inside Iran. Are we ready? Yes, we are. Conducted a campaign of maximum economic pressure on the regime, and it has hurt the regime. It has hurt the people economically. But do you know what else has hurt the people of Iran even more economically? Not just the American sanctions from outside. The people of Iran have an enemy inside. It's the corruption and greed of the current mullahs who run that great country. And we're going to stop it. Now, what has been the response of the government of Iran? It's been aggression. It's been more violence. They've shot down an American drone just in the last few weeks. They sent an armed drone of their own, a killer drone, into Israel, and they attacked the oil facilities of Saudi Arabia. Any one of those would in other times have been considered an act of war. The radicals at the top of the Iranian government must think they can scare us into another bad deal, but I don't think so. Not with President Trump, not with Secretary Pompeo, and not with you and your brothers and sisters in Iran who want to be freed from these fanatics that now govern them without the people's consent. And listen to what happened yesterday, a big turning point. The governments of Britain, Germany, and France released a joint statement saying they agree with us that Iran was responsible for the attacks on Saudi Arabia. How about that?
Change, change, change! Regime change in Iran! Change, change, change! Regime change in Iran! Change, change, change! Regime change in Iran!
So now that we are working again, not only with our allies in the Middle East, but our friends and allies in Europe. The big question is whether the U.S. and those allies will strike the Iranian military with force, military force, in response to its aggression. I think we have to, but that's a difficult question, and others will decide. I want to say to you today, particularly because of what brings you here, that there is a force that the government of Iran, the radical regime in Tehran, fears more than outside military attack. And you know what that force is? It is the people of Iran, the National Council of Resistance of Iran,
Regime
MEK
change in
of
Iran
Iran.
by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran.
That is what we used to call in America the power of the people. A military strike against Iran will hurt the IRGC and the Quds Force, but it will not bring down the regime. The people of Iran, rising up with our support, can bring down this regime, and in my opinion, it's long past time to change the Iran regime so that there is a free Iran, a peace-loving Iran.
Down with terrorist regime of Iran! Down with terrorist regime of Iran! Down with terrorist regime of Iran!
Let's be honest. The U.S., the world, we've tried everything else with this group of fanatics who have seized this great country and civilization. Nothing has worked. It still suppresses its own people. It still steals their wealth. It still sponsors terrorism. It still expands by aggression their movement into other countries in the region. It still builds missiles to deliver the nuclear weapons we know they will make on their neighbors, on Europe, and yes, eventually on the United States. The only policy we haven't changed, because everything else has failed to change the behavior of the regime in Iran, is to change the regime in Iran. It's time to give freedom a chance in Iran. Yes. And think of how the world will change if there is a new government in Tehran that is peace-loving, that is committed to the freedom and uplifting of its own people, that is non-nuclear. A new regime in Tehran will, in fact, mean the end of most of the conflict in the Middle East. It'll mean a better life for the people of Iran. Now, I can hear the cynics saying, oh, Lieberman, you're dreaming. And so are the members of the OIAC, Iranian American communities. Are we dreaming? No, we're not dreaming. As somebody once said, if you will it, if you work for it, it is no dream. You know, they said to this small band of colonists here in America 225 odd years ago, who thought they could gain their freedom from the strongest empire in the world, the King of England, that they couldn't do it. But did they do it? Yes, they did. They said to people in the former Soviet Union, who suffered in many ways just as the people of Iran did, you will never overthrow the powerful communist government. But did they do it? Yes, they did. And we will do it. You will do it. The NCRI, the MEK will be at the very beating heart of a new, free, peace-loving Iran. You have a plan, you have a 10-point plan that speaks to free elections, freedom of politics, gender equality, no nuclear weapons, working with other countries in the region and the world, and no movement, no matter how strong it is, can succeed without a leader. And you have a leader, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. A principled leader, a capable leader, surrounded by other principled and capable leaders. And you have the broadest support of any dissident opposition group to the government of Iran among Iranians in America and throughout the world. So you have reason to be confident. My dear friends, I want to close with a recollection. Just a couple of months ago, along with my wife, we visited Ashraf III in Albania. It was a wonderful visit. It was a little hard on my ego because when it ended, I decided my wife was more popular there than I was. This happens. But I will tell you more significantly, I believe in Ashraf III. I saw, and anyone who goes there will see, what can be the future of Iran. On a hillside in Albania, whose government was good enough to welcome those who had suffered so much at Ashraf in Iraq. The people have built a spectacular new community, modern, clean, working hard. It is what the whole country of Iran can be if the people of Iran and the people of the world supporting them get rid of these greedy, corrupt, extreme leaders that are there now. Now, a final word. I miss every day my dear friend and your dear friend, Senator John McCain. I am sure John, if he were alive, would be here. I'm sure he's watching us today. In fact, I give him credit for the good weather today. Yeah, John, in the months before his illness got him so he couldn't travel anymore, he visited Ashraf III. And I want to read to you the words he spoke because I speak them to you today. You have stood up and fought and sacrificed for freedom, for the right to determine your future, for the rights that are given by God, not the state. I thank you for being an example to the whole world that those who are willing to fight and sacrifice for freedom always will achieve it. That's the end of the quote from John, and he's right. Your cause is as old as human history, the cause of freedom, the battle that has gone on forever, freedom against tyranny. And so, I say to you, in conclusion, are we ready to fight for freedom in Iran? Are we ready to lead the fight? Are we ready to govern? Yes. The answer is, are you ready now? The answer is Hazer, Hazer, Hazer. We are ready. Hazer. Thank you. God bless you.
Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi.
Senator Lieberman, thank you so much for your beautiful words. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to receive a message from Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. This message will be delivered by Mrs. Sona Samsami, the U.S. representative of the NCRI. Maryam! Azadi! Iran! Maryam! Azadi! Iran! Maryam! Azadi!
Iran, Maryam, Azadi. Iran, Maryam, Azadi. Maryam, Azadi. Iran, Maryam, Azadi. Iran, Maryam, Azadi. پیام رئیس جمهور برگزیده مقاومت خانم مریم رجوی به تظاهرات ایرانیان در آمریکا. ایرانیان، یاران مقاومت، نمایندگان و مدافعان شرف و شورش مردم ایران، علیه تبهکاران خونخوار حاکم. ایرانیان، یاران مقاومت، نمایندگان و مدافعان شرف و شورش مردم ایران علیه تبهکاران خونخوار حاکم. شهردار جولیانی، سناتور لیبرمن، سناتور تورسلی، همه شخصیت‌های محترمی که برای حمایت از خواست مردم ایران مبتنی بر سرنگونی رژیم و برقراری آزادی و دموکراسی گرد آمده اید، به همه شما درود میفرستم. اجتماع شما امروز نه پرخروشی به حضور فرستاده فاشیسم دینی در ملل متحد است که به دستبوسی ولی فقیه و سپاه پاسداران افتخار می کند. اجتماع شما نه قاطعی به سیاست استمالت از آخوندها، نه قاطع به سیاست فرصت خریدن برای یک رژیم پابگور و نه قاطع به سیاست بیعملی در قبال رژیمی که با جنگ افروزی، ترور و سرکوب خود را حفظ می کند. و اجتماع شما نه به ادامه حاکمیت مشتی اشغالگر و تبهکار در ایران و آری به سرنگونی این رژیم توسط مردم و مقاومت ایران است. شما صدای اعتراض و مقاومت مردم ایرانید. شما صدای اعتراض و مقاومت مردم ایرانید که تازه ترین نمونه آن همین روزها توسط کارگران دلیر کارخانه ابکو در خیابان‌های عراق جریان یافت. و شما صدای کانون‌های شورشی و صدای شوراهای مقاومت که با فعالیت‌های شجاعانه در سراسر ایران شعله قیام و اعتراض را فروزان نگه داشته‌اید. کانون‌های شورشی
برابر جامعه جهانی دیگری نیست که حمله توسط کی صورت گرفته، بلکه ضرورت در پیش گرفتن یک قاطعیت تمام عیار در برابر این رژیم است. آخوند روحانی رئیس جمهور استبداد دینی با صراحت تمام از این تنش آفرینی حمایت کرده. نماینده خامنه‌ای در مشهد به تأکید این حمله را به آخوندها مرتبط کرده و گفته است که از انصارالله یمن تا تمامی گروه‌های شبه نظامی دست نشانده در لبنان، سوریه، عراق، فلسطین همه رژیم ایرانند. خود خامنه‌ای درست پس از حمله به عربستان هر گونه مذاکره در هر سطحی با آمریکا را مشروط بر آن کرد که آمریکا توبه کند. بنابراین کسانی که از استمالت از قاتلان حاکم بر ایران تبلیغ می‌کنید چه حرفی دارید؟ دبیر کل ملل متحد گفته است حمله رژیم ایران نه فقط منشور ملل متحد را نقض کرده، بلکه نقض قانون حقوق بشر بین المللی است. با وجود این چرا سازمان ملل کرسی ایران را از این رژیم نامشروع نمیگیرد؟ و چرا شورای امنیت قطعنامه‌های تعلیق شده خود را درباره پروژه تسهیلات اتمی رژیم و ممنوعیت غنی‌سازی را بر نمیگرداند؟ این سیاستی است که فاجعه آفریده و جبران آن تنها یک راه دارد و آن ایستادن در کنار مردم ایران که برای به زیر کشیدن بانکدار مرکزی تروریسم به پا خواستند. Dear friends, developments of the recent months have proven the positions of the Iranian resistance more than ever before. Years ago, the Iranian resistance announced some of the most fundamental truths about the Iranian regime, including the following. 1. The regime is neither capable of reform nor can it change its behavior. It will never abandon weapons of mass destruction. It will never abandon human rights violation. It will never abandon promotion of fundamentalism and terrorism. And it will get emboldened as a result of appeasement. And it only understands the language of strength and firmness. There is a direct correlation between regime's crisis of being overthrown on one hand, and its terrorism and warmongering on the other. Just recently, the regime's oil minister described the current circumstances of regime as the final battle. The regime is weak, and its impulse, its adventurism, and even acts in the region are expanded only because no other party has stood up to it. At the same time, the Iranian people are the regime's primary victims. The most crucial solution to discard the religious fascism is to overthrow it. Overthrow at the hands of the Iranian people. To discard the religious fascism is to overthrow it. Overthrow at the hands of Iranian people and Iran's organized resistance. Yes, in the words of Masoud Rajavi, Iranian resistance leader said, "No one outside of us and our friends and our people is supposed to bring us freedom and human rights," unquote. must declare the Iranian regime a threat to global peace and security. And a dossier of the regime's human rights violation, particularly the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988, must be referred to an international tribunal. Ousting the clerical regime from the rest of the region and expelling the IRGC and proxy militias from Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Afghanistan is an urgent imperative. We urge all countries to join the International Front Against Religious Fascism. The international community must recognize the rights of the Iranian people's resistance to overthrow the religious fascism and achieve freedom. Who are firmly convinced that their liberation will not be possible without overthrowing the mullahs. The days of religious fascism are numbered. The days of religious fascism are numbered. Iran will be free. With the help of the resistance units and the army of freedom, we will reclaim the most beautiful nation, Iran. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very pleased to introduce our next speaker, who served for 14 years in the U.S. House of Representatives before being elected to the Senate from the state of New Jersey. One of the leaders in the fight for democracy and freedom in Iran. Someone that is known to all of us. Please welcome Senator Bob Torricelli.
Today, when the leaders of the world gather in the United Nations, there will be respected men and women from the great democracies of Europe, the rising powers of Asia, the free colonial nations of Africa. But among them will be one man who does not deserve to be sitting in the chamber of a building in an organization dedicated to human peace, human freedom, and dignity. Leaders of the world, look to your left, look to your right. Rouhani does not deserve a seat in the United Nations. When you see Rouhani, see a man who has enslaved his people, murdered 3,800 of his own citizens, imprisoned more Iranians, more of his own people than any nation on earth, who's raising a generation in poverty, who is denied the most basic of human freedoms. Leaders of the world, Rouhani does not belong in the United Nations.
Rouhani, no, no, no! Rajavi, yes, yes, yes! Rouhani, no,
in the chamber today, knowing that we have been here so many times, in so many years, he must be asking, when will they stop? When will they stop chanting? When will they stop marching? When will they stop coming to the United Nations? Rouhani, hear my voice now. Never, never, never. We will never stop. Rouhani, when will we stop demanding that the jails of Iran be emptied of our children, of people who have done nothing more than to speak free? Our answer is simple. Never, never, never. Rouhani, when will we stop demanding that the children, another generation of Iranians, stop sharing and not share in the prosperity of the world and stop living in abject poverty with no hope, no future, and no economic security? Our answer to you is simple. Never, never, never. Perhaps the other nations don't understand what we ask, because our demands could not be more simple. They could not be more modest. We want for the Iranian people what other nations have all provided for their people: a chance to speak free, practice their faith, provide for their children, live a decent life, live without tyranny. This is all we ask. If you do not understand us, then look to yourselves. We want for Iran what all the peoples of Europe and Africa and Asia and North America have already provided for their people. Peoples of the world, join us. Iranians are not different. We are not less. God does not want less for us. Our people have no less ambitions for their faith, their futures, or their children. People of the world, join with us. Join with the MEK. Free Iran! Free Iran now!
Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran.
And yet, all of you and the millions of people in the Iranian diaspora who wait for a new future for Iran are entitled to ask, what is different this year? What is different from last year, from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago? Are we any closer to end the dictatorship? Because it is not the same. 4 and 5 years ago, the Iranian opposition was divided. Today, we understand that there is one organization with one leader, with the means, the discipline, the focus, the strength, the determination to free Iran. That is the MEK, and that is Maryam Rajavi that will lead this revolution. It is not the same. It is not the same. 2 years ago, 5 years ago, the leaders of this movement were in Iraq under cannon fire from Iranians, from the Revolutionary Guards. Our people were dying. They were under fire. They were hunkered in bunkers. They could not carry on the fight. Today, the tip of the spear is in Albania, and 24 hours a day, hundreds of people are sending social media, sending media, on television, on the radio, communicating with millions of Iranians, carrying the fight into Iran, where we will get victory. It is not the same as last year. It is not the same. It is not the same. Years ago, we spoke to the people of Iran, but the streets of Tehran, towns, villages, and cities across Iran were oppressed by the Revolutionary Guards, and they were silent. It is not the same. Today, hundreds of thousands of Iranians have taken to the streets across Iran, demanding a new freedom, putting their lives on the line, speaking free, demanding an end to the dictatorship. They are rising up. They are rising by the thousands. It is not the same. We have taken to the streets. Even a year ago, when the people took to the streets of Iran, they were leaderless. They had a message of freedom. They knew what they wanted for themselves and their children, but they did not have direction or organization. Today, hundreds of cells across Iran, organized by Madam Rajavi, led by the MEK, are organizing protests, spreading messages, posting bulletins, writing slogans, providing leadership. The MEK is back on the forefront, leading the revolution. It is not the same. It is not the same. Now let me speak to you as Americans, because many of you have two heritages. Proud of the land of your fathers in Iran, but sharing my love of America. It is not the same. Several years ago, America, with our instincts of accommodation and reconciliation, made a vain attempt to reconcile with Tehran, to give them a last chance, to see if there could be resolution. We were shown nothing but violence, terrorism, a continued nuclear program, and a brutal dictatorship. It is not the same. The American embargo on Iran is strangling the regime. It is strangling the Revolutionary Guard. It is shutting down the nuclear program. It is bringing an end to the tyranny. To those leaders gathered here, I know the embargo may be American-led, but across the world, from Europe to India to China to Japan, those nations that were funding the regime by buying their oil, they have stopped. They have stopped buying millions of barrels of oil. They are bankrupting the regime. And what they are bankrupting is the system of terror that is murdering people, suppressing basic human freedoms, denying self-government, executing citizens in public squares. The money of Japan and China was going to oppress a free people. To those nations around the world who have followed American leadership by stop funding the regime, we say to you, it is not the same. We are united as a global community. We will end the regime. We will end the regime. It is not the same. It is not the same.
Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran. Regime change.
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you the hour and the day when mothers and fathers across Iran can look their children in the eye and say, you are not different. Like other children around the world, you will have a future. You will breathe free. You will have your own government. You will be able to provide for your children. You'll be able to build a home and to build a future. I wish I could tell you the day. I wish I knew the hour. I don't. I only know one thing. I know how this ends. The mullahs will be destroyed and Iran will be free.
Rajavi, yes! Mullahs, no! They are terrorists, they must go!
And while I wish...
Yes! Mullahs, no!
And while I wish I knew that day, I do know this. That seat in the United Nations, where decent men and women have to sit with a man with blood on his hands, who contradicts by his very presence everything this organization stands for. That seat will be occupied by an Iranian who respects his people, respects democracy, wants to live at peace, wants the Iranian people to rejoin the international community. As God is my witness, Rouhani will not sit in that seat long. It will belong to a free Iranian.
Rouhani! No, no, no! Rajavi! Yes, yes, yes!
Rouhani, no, no, no! Rajavi, yes, yes, yes! Rouhani, no, no, no! Rajavi, yes, yes, yes!
Madam Rajavi, for having given your life to the freedom of your people, we thank you. For all of you living here now in America who could be doing other things, forgetting your people and the land of your fathers, we thank you. By your presence, you say much about yourselves, your family, and your ancestors. It is one of the great causes of my life to be here with you. And I tell you this, while I don't know when, I don't know the day, I'm not sure of the means, I know this: you and I and Madam Rajavi have a destiny to rendezvous in Tehran in a free Iran. God bless you all, and thank you all very, very much.
Democracy, freedom with Mariam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom with Mariam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom.
همه پرچم‌ها رو بلند کنین، تابلوها بلند، پرچم‌ها رو تکون بدین، همه با هم پرچم‌ها رو تکون بدین، حرکت حرکت. مردم ایران کانونای شورشی دارن نگاه میکنن. پرچم‌ها رو تکون بدین.
آزادی ایران مریم آزادی ایران مریم آزادی ایران مریم آزادی. پیام به جان جانان حاضر حاضر تا پایان.
Thank you.
شورشی جنگاور حاضر حاضر تا آخر. شورشی جنگاور حاضر حاضر تا آخر.
کشورها رو با توسط رژیم چنج این ایران
Change, change, change. Regime change in Iran. Change, change, change. Regime change in Iran. Change, change, change. Regime change in Iran.
Rajabi, yes, mullahs no, they are terrorists, they must go.
Rajabi, yes, mullahs no. They are terrorists, they must go. Rajabi, yes, mullahs no. They are terrorists, they must go. Rajabi, yes, mullahs no. They are terrorists, they must go.
Regime change in
The people of Iran. Regime change in Iran. By the people of Iran.
down with terrorist regime of Iran.
Down with terrorist regime of Iran. Down with terrorist regime of Iran.
فریاد حق ایرانی، مرگ بر خامنه‌ای روحانی.
فریاد هر ایرانی، مرگ بر خامنه‌ای روحانی. فریاد هر ایرانی، مرگ بر خامنه‌ای روحانی. فریاد هر ایرانی، مرگ بر خامنه‌ای روحانی.
مرگ بر اصل ولایت فقیه، زنده باد ارتش آزادی.
مرگ بر اصل ولایت فقیه، زنده باد ارتش آزادی. مرگ بر اصل ولایت فقیه، زنده باد ارتش.
And thank you for always representing the voice of the Iranian people who, for more than 4 decades, have called for a free Iran. Let us greet Iran. Salam bar Iran zamin. Salam bar kanunhay shurashi.
Make some noise for Kamal, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Our next speaker is Rania Kaiser, Syrian-American who stands by the side of her people. She just returned from Idlib a month ago, where she witnessed how Assad's regime killed more than 40 people. She spoke to CNN and other media outlets from there. And today is a special day because the people in Binnish Idlib are also protesting in solidarity with us against the regime in Iran.
الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is an honor to stand before fellow comrades who have continued their quest for 50 years. We have many things to learn from you and to cooperate with you on. It is an honor to bring with me the voice of Idlib, as they have already beat you and sent you a video of a solidarity protest about 2 hours ago. We come in support of your demands to topple the mullah regime. We stand with your demands as they are. No executions, no terrorism, no nuclear weapons, and yes, and yes, and yes to a change of the mullah regime. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard has caused your people and our people great many losses. In the year of 2015, there was a battle where 2,000 of Qasem Soleimani's best fighters lost their lives. It was because of him that he is bringing atrocities to both our nations. Yet he mistakenly believes that he will stay in Syria. And I am here to tell you, on behalf of everybody in Syria, I have just come from Idlib city less than a month ago. I am here to tell you that our number one objective is to disinfect our lands from all Qasem Soleimani and his thugs and his people. It is very painful to see and understand and analyze and feel the results of the mullah regime since they took over Iran. They have caused nothing but hatred, intolerance, and the most painful of all, division between Shiites and Sunnis. They tampered with the great religion of Islam, and they used it to make us apart from each other. That should not go on anymore. Economically, from a Syrian opposition perspective, the Rouhani regime stole from the Iranian people $30 billion to spend it on Assad and his thugs so they can continue in killing us in Syria. Yet I am here again to tell you, neither Qasem Soleimani or Rouhani will stay, because there's always the belief of Allah. There's always the belief of Allah. No tyranny shall ever go on, so long as we are together. Brothers, sisters, today we have a great opportunity. Today we have the chance to begin the history that was taken away from us. Today we will win if we unite. Today we will topple tyranny if we are together hand in hand. Today It is our responsibility as people who are enjoying the freedom of the United States of America. It is our responsibility to continue to echo the voice of both our nations. It is the responsibility and the duty and the privilege of every person who has the blessings of living in the United States or abroad, where you can practice freedom without getting killed, where you can talk and stand in front of officials and tell them to get out and tell them that they do not represent you, and you know that you will not get killed. It is our duty to echo the voices of our people in both Syria and Iran.
Free, free Syria! Free, free Syria! Free, free Syria! Free, free Iran! Free, free Syria! Free, free Iran!
Our message to you from Idlib, from the Syrian American community, from yours truly is, we will win if we unite. Please repeat after me. We will win if we unite. If we unite. We will win if we unite. We will win if we unite. They are sending you the same message in the video that you will see. I would like to finally take 2 or 3 minutes, or seconds, I'm sorry, to send a message to my people in Syria, because they are now under the shellings continuously and daily of the Russian and the Iranian regime. أخيراً من أرض الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية الحرة نقول لأبطال الثورة السورية: الشعب السوري يريد إسقاط كل الأنظمة المجرمة. الشعب السوري سينتصر، والله معنا طالما بقينا في ظله مؤمنين بقوته وعدالته في الدنيا والآخرة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكراً بنش الصمود، شكراً إدلب الحبيبة، شكراً سوريا الحرة.
الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام.
الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام.
الشعب
يريد إسقاط النظام. Free, free Syria! Free, free Syria! Free, free Iran! Free, free Iran! خامنئي قاتله، نظامي باطله. خامنئي قاتله، نظام كل النظام باطله.